Good morning. Let's see if we're all stood up here. It's December 15th, 2024 on this Sunday. Today I'll be focusing on more of the the Orthodox Christian issues. And we're going to start off with, I'm going to be doing these in segments. We're going to start off with a presentation by Dr. Maria Curry that was done in 2014. She went around the country at different Orthodox churches and talked about her life and experiences with her and her family in a place called Taibe, which is the newer name of Ephraim from the Bible, in the Palestine, West Bank area. And so I'm going to start that out with, let's see what we have here.
So I'm Maria, I'm a Greek, but I'm married to a Palestinian, so I live in the Holy Land. But a way a Greek gets to Palestine is, I was born in Tripoli, Greece, and my parents brought me to this country, like most immigrants, for better educational opportunities, financial opportunities. So I grew up in Denver, Colorado from the time I was 5 years old. And everything was Greek in our lives because we'd go only to the Greek church, we'd go only to the Greek market, we'd have a Greek doctor, a Greek lawyer. Everything Greek was holy and great. And so being in a very strict home, you're supposed to only leave your home when you get married and you go to your husband's home from your father's home. But thank God there's a Greek Orthodox college, Hellenic College. And so I tried to convince my parents if everything Greek is great, then I should have permission to go to this Hellenic College instead of living at home and commuting to the Denver College. And so my parents were convinced that Greek college would be okay, but it was my fate. I met the only non-Greek young man that was at the Greek college. My husband, David, who was studying from our village of Taibe, where we live now. And this is what I wanted to show you, our life there and our struggle to survive under difficult circumstances. But we did go back during peaceful times. We returned during the Oslo Agreement in the early 1993s in front of the White House lawn. The Israelis and the Palestinians, they signed the Oslo Agreement. We really believed that Muslims, Christians, Jews, they would live side by side. So we went back, very promising time. My husband never became a priest. He worked 2 jobs to get a master's in business instead of take the free scholarship that he had at Holy Cross. So he has a master in business, and he boosted the economy by starting a beer business in the Middle East. But I wanted to tell you that maybe if we start the slides, I currently live in the only Christian village that exists in the West Bank. Before the creation of Israel, before 1948, we had many such places, many such all-Christian locations. But because of the creation of Israel, more than 500 villages had to be razed from the map, destroyed, demolished in order to make way for the creation of Israel. And more than 750,000 Palestinians ran away at gunpoint to save their lives during the times of war in 1948. And so because of the wars, because of the checkpoints, because of the terrible occupation policies, our Christian presence is constantly diminishing. Like in Jerusalem, we had 5,000 Greeks, for example, in 1948. Now we're barely 200 Greeks in Jerusalem because people are just being pushed out from the violence that constantly happens. So I live in Taibe. It's the only all-Christian village that exists in the Holy Land. It's a half an hour drive outside of Jerusalem, 15 minutes drive from Ramallah, but I can't get to Ramallah in 15 minutes because the Israeli settlers, as a punishment in 2000, shut our road down. I have to go the backward roads. It takes about 45 minutes. In 2001, it was taking an hour and 45 minutes, but now they try to fix it. So it would be less than 45 minutes, but I am north of Jerusalem, a half an hour. Now, my village is well known in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. We had the biblical name Ephraim. It is known as the village for receiving Jesus. Right before Jesus was crucified, he wanted to escape from the Jewish community, so he came into our village, Ephraim. We took on the new name, Taibe, because Salah ad-Din, the Islamic leader, when he came, the local Christians always practiced the gospel of love. Love your neighbor, love your enemy. So they fed his horses even after he conquered them. They fed his soldiers. So he made a comment, you are Taibin. In Arabic means you are good people. So we took on the name Taibe since the 12th century after Salah ad-Din, and we dropped the name Ephraim. But St. Helen, when she was in Jerusalem looking for the true cross, and she spent 2 years looking for the true cross, the local Christians must have told her that Jesus was received here, and we feel this is the reason she built the first church in our village, named after St. George, because the people told her Jesus was received here. And she also built the Holy Nativity Church in Bethlehem and the Holy Sepulchre, of course, in Jerusalem, and all of the major churches really in the Holy Land are attributed to St. Helen. So our village has these pure, deep roots, 2,000 years of Christian presence, and we're mentioned in the Old Testament by our Aramaic name Ephraim, our Hebrew name Ophrah, more than 11 times. But in the New Testament, we're mentioned in the Gospel of John, 11, verse 54, as the place where Jesus went to with his disciples right before his crucifixion, right before he had the glorious entry into Jerusalem. Now, out of the 5 million Palestinians that live in the West Bank and Gaza, we're less than 2% Christian people. So our numbers are even going lower. We live next to 6 million Israelis. 5 million are Jewish people. A little over 1 million are Palestinian Arab people that did not flee in 1948. Our patron saint in our village is St. George. He's the most beloved saint actually in the whole Middle East, because many buildings and church buildings were protected. When they saw an icon of St. George, the invaders were too scared to knock it down. He's very reverenced in the Islamic faith as well as a courageous war army hero. But he's our patron saint. We have less than 2,000 people living in our village of Taibe. This is our church building that we pray in today. St. George, it was built by my husband's grandfather, who was the parish priest, and it was renovated in 205 with that new gate and the bell tower, just to give work to people, because we have 60% unemployment. Our parish priest has the same name as my husband, Father David Khoury. Daoud is the Arabic name for David. He's our first cousin. My husband is the mayor, because every firstborn son gets the grandfather's name. So we actually have like 4 or 5 David Khourys. The biggest celebrated event in our village is Palm Sunday, and also receiving the miracle of the Holy Fire, where everyone ecumenically marches in the streets to celebrate and to witness for Christ. The majority of the Christians in the Holy Land tend to be Orthodox, but many other denominations are very good at giving humanitarian services. So our Orthodox churches are empty, and many people pray in other denominations. We also have a Roman Catholic church in our village. It's called the Latin Church. We use the term Latin. We also have a Melkite church. We use the word Greek Catholic to describe Melkite practice. All 3 churches run schools, and Muslims and Christians go to school together. It's a big service that the Christian institutions give. This is a small chapel up on the hill. This is the view from my kitchen window. It's built by a French monk, but it's not used because people are scared to travel to us. My husband, David Khoury, became the first democratically elected mayor in May 2005. And since then, we've been trying to find creative ways to survive there. One way is to use our good name of Taibe beer that people know, the brewery, and bring them to the village for an Oktoberfest. And when they come, they end up buying oil and embroidery and soap and all of the local goods, honey, that the women cooperatives make. We have 5 women cooperatives and a few small businesses, and they can't take their products out because we're under severe closure. A lot of checkpoints, 300 checkpoints all around me, and we live behind a huge big wall, all paid by American taxpayers' money, in case you didn't know. We have 2 small guest homes that people can overnight for about $20 or $25 at the new one. People can overnight in Taibe. We have many historic buildings. We have 248 abandoned buildings. So another project that we were successful to bring into our village is a $300,000 grant from the Spanish government renovating 69 of these abandoned homes, and it preserved the beauty of the Palestinian architecture, and again gave work to people during 60% unemployment. So we live in a situation where constantly we can't survive unless we bring money in for projects. And thank God during my husband's leadership, and I hope it's going to be finished, but the elections have been canceled 3 times, we've been trying to create work for people. So Taibe has...
Okay, so that's your introduction to this solely Christian village in Palestine. It's the only one. That's a Christian-only village. Just happens that they're all, most of them are settled there. And in my next video, I'll show you the second half. And hopefully you're enjoying the history of this and what it's like over there. She'll get more into that in the next segment. So if you like my content, please follow my channel and like my videos. Until next time.